All right. You've already thrown up the red flag that says, hey, this trade agreement isn't working. And so their war plan has been put into action. And they have already gotten hold of their allies. They're bringing them in. And they have been plotting behind your back from the get-go. Worst thing you could have done was to let them know what was going on. As soon as you see that there's a problem with the trade agreement, you need to start planning then. Or when you suspect that there's a problem with the trade agreement, start planning then. Ideally, what you do is before you enter into even negotiations for a trade agreement, you have your ducks in a row so that regardless of what happens, you come out smelling like a rose. That's what you want. That's what they're doing. They've already done that. You desperately should have been doing that. You didn't. So you have what you have. Now, at the risk of mixing metaphors, what you're dealing with is Dr. No and you're Barney Fife. What you should have done was, as soon as you found out that it was a dry hole, you should have stopped moving mining equipment in there. You should have stopped moving assets into that country where that mine was. Stop doing it. Don't let them have access to any more of your resources. Those resources should have been someplace else, held secretly, so that they couldn't nationalize them. Anything that you bring into that country, anything that is brought into that trade agreement has been nationalized. It's hers. All right, so first things first, protect what is yours. Do not let anyone get their meat hooks in it, not just in this one, in any of them. All right. In relationships in general, one person should complement the other. You should not focus your life on this other person. That focus puts all the power in their hands. If you know where you're going, what you're doing, what your goals in life are, how you're going to get there, and if she complements all of that, you can bring her along. But you are still on your path, okay? I used to say an awful lot, listen to what the doggone Bible says. Must be equally yoked, all right? If you've got one ox that wants to go this way, one ox that wants to go that way, they're going nowhere. It's just conflict. If you've got one ox that's doing all of the pulling and the other one is hanging back and letting that one do all the pulling, you're going to kill that ox. This one's going to be fine. They need to be equally yoked. Also, the Bible in, I think it was Ephesians 5:22, wives, submit to your own husbands as you would do unto the Lord. All right? If you have the other thing out of the Bible, I think it's in Proverbs. It is better to dwell in the wilderness than to live with a contentious woman. All right? It's better to be alone than to be involved with a vindictive slewer. All right? Don't get involved with them. I don't care how good of a screw they are, and I don't care how lonely you happen to be. You can rent that shit. There are plenty of them out there. As soon as they become interested in you, that indicates that they are willing, that's the time that they're looking for resources. As long as they are on the market and they're riding the cock carousel, they don't need you. But just about the time that they've punched their last ticket on the cock carousel, they start looking for somebody to, buy sticker price for this banged up POS that probably won't make it very damn far. And it's been driven hard over rough roads, and there's not a whole lot good left in it. So if you're expecting it to go from here to California, good luck with that. You're probably going to be putting a shit ton of money into it, and you're still going to have a ragged out Pinto. Her war plan is out. Now, thing is, not only does she have a war plan and you don't, she has had intelligence forces inside your sphere of influence for a very long time. Anyone that you've ever had trade negotiations with in the past, anyone that you've had contact with, anyone that you've allied with, they have already had their intelligence forces in there pumping for information. They know every damn thing there is to know about your little ass. Also, you have invited the enemy inside the wire. They are billeted. You have enemy forces billeted in with your forces. Holy fuck. How the hell are you going to battle this? You can't battle it on conventional means. You've got to go guerrilla on it. All right? You've got to dive deep. You've got to maintain the appearance that you may go about this conflict in a conventional manner. And you have to convince them and set up the appearance of conventional forces, all at the same time as negotiating on the trade agreement, but at the same time getting assets and power deposited in guerrilla locations, hardened points that they can't get to, or at least they don't know exist. All right? And hiding or camouflaging is about the best you can do. Now, Sun Tzu, if you have a chance, all you guys out there, read The Art of War by Sun Tzu. One of his principles is the art of deception. When you are weak, appear strong. When you are strong, appear weak. Don't attack a superior force. Attack an inferior force. So, the whole idea about, a fair fight, that is nothing more than a tactic that's employed by a weaker force, or maybe not even a weaker force. That's a tactic to encourage someone to play someone else's game, to fight someone else's preferred battle. You don't want to do that. You want to fight your battle, and you want to fight it on your preferred ground. Now, you haven't realized it yet, but the opposition, your enemy, which is now inside your wire, has been moving forces and resources for quite some time. It's been on the move. And you have not had any damn intelligence outside of your borders. You're completely blind as to what's going on in the outside world. So they've done this. They didn't even have to hide it, for crying out loud. But they've been moving their forces, and they have been congregating on your borders. They know what you've got. They know where you've got it. And by golly, they're going to get it. You know, when the lead starts flying, there is going to be a massive push, and they are going to move into your territory. You will lose a crap ton of territory in the initial stages. And what you need to do is you need to take all of the resources that you have inside that territory that they can possibly grab real easy. You need to clandestinely move that over to perhaps a neighboring country or another ally that is that's capable of safeguarding it. And it's going to have to be done in the dark of night, and it's going to have to happen fast. I mean, one night. Because if the sun comes up and they see that you've been moving resources, boom, lead starts flying. They are going to pull that trigger, and they're going to pull it fast. So it's got to happen. It's got to happen on the down low. And you have to know where it's going and who you can trust. Because they got spies everywhere. You know, all these people that you think are your allies are in trade agreements with all of her allies. See where I'm going with this? And these guys are still operating with Nerf guns or airsoft guns, and somebody else has thermonuclear warheads and weapons of mass destruction. You know, and when, you know, lead starts flying, they're going to find out just exactly how unarmed they are. And it doesn't matter what the kind of ally they are. They'll back out on that agreement in a heartbeat, because they don't want to be destroyed either. They'll cut you loose. You know, there's no way that, Portugal is going to try to stick up for Luxembourg against Russia. They just can't. They may scream and holler about it, but they can't do anything of substance. And you can't expect these other guys to do it either. All you can do is ally with someone that is strong enough, that has really no ties to, this woman. And somebody that's actually concerned about your welfare. Those are the only people that you can trust. Anytime that there is some type of a hold, or some type of influence that can be wielded against your allies, you got to question them. And you don't have to question their intentions, but intentions don't win wars. And it is a war.